Hello and welcome to the next review on Foose Entertainment. This time I will be talking about Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. Well, this is one of my favorites in the series. I can certainly say that. Definitely had a lot to offer. This it's always one of my favorite experiences in the Halloween franchise. Definitely enjoyed the atmosphere of the movie, the performances. Everything about it was top-notch, especially in 1988. This made up for the not-so-well accepted Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. It was released a few years earlier. This one really is just a shocker of a movie. It's not really something that has to do a lot with the Halloween mythology that was sort of nodded out in the first and second movie. And what I like about the movie is it's fast-paced, it's thrilling. The body count's pretty high in this movie. The overall theme of the movie is pretty good. Characters are very watchable and relatable. Something I really like is when I watch one of these movies and I can relate very well to the characters. And that's certainly the case with Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. I would say that certainly like the look of the movie. It's an traditional thing with the Halloween films. It always looks nostalgic to the Halloween themed fall-like look. Certainly that is the case in this one. This film looks very cold and very rigid. I say even more so cold and rigid than the first two, which I definitely like. This film does have some flaws still that do not get addressed, so I will address them. There is a sequence around the end of the movie in which you can very visibly see that a lot of the climax stunts of the film, the stuntman he was trying to play the shape, aka Michael Myers in the movie, looks absolutely nothing like Michael Myers. Even down to the mask being a not so great match up to the actual mask that the shape wears in the movie. Down to the hair being a different color and all sorts of things, and the body being different. So that's a flaw that people don't always point out too much, but I will. So I'm pointing that flaw out. That should be better. It gets to my mouth better for people that can't hear all that well, but yeah, it's a hint of interesting thing to talk about. My niece, he was now my oldest niece. He was old, about 21.5 years old now. When she first saw this movie, and when I used to watch it when I was in my young 20s and late teens, I could not help but notice that Danielle Harris, playing the character of Jamie Lloyd in this movie, looks exactly 100% like my niece when she was a young kid, which is just a fun little thing to throw out there. I know she watches these videos, so she'll probably appreciate that mention. All right, well, let's go on to the premise of the film. This takes place 10 years after the events of the first two Halloween movies and disregards the third film. And pretty much we discovered that Laurie Strode had a child named Jamie, and she died in a car wreck along with Jamie's father. We, of course, get to see the conclusion of that actual story when we watch Halloween H2O. Whenever it's on it. Michael Myers has been locked up in a sanitarium, not Smith's Grove. Dr. Loomis has gone a little bit crazy and doing everything in his power to keep Michael locked away in captivity. But the court systems in the federal government, after due process problems, and they demand that he get transferred back to Smith's Grove Sanitarium. And in the process of doing so, obviously, Michael kills the orderlies and escapes from his captivity and heads back to Hanfield. When discovering this, Dr. Loomis, half of his face is burned off, although it's actually this half of the face is burned off. Sorry, I'm not a professional actor, although I always could be. I kind of forget that camera-wise, your right is actually the left on the camera, and your left is actually right on the camera. So that would be your right. This would be your left. To me, it's different. But yeah, basically, he goes on pursuit of Michael. And Michael's wreaking havoc and kills probably more people in this movie than any other Halloween film. He kills, I say, pretty close to about 30 people in this movie, possibly more. So there's a very high body count in this. He kills all of the police officers, everybody in the police station. He kills every freaking one of them. He kills the hillbillies of the town. Who want vigilante justice. He kills all of them. And of course he kills, let's see, 2 people at a gas station. And, or as I say, a car service station is actually technically what it was, but it did have gas there too, inconvenience. Also kills 4 people in the hospital escort, obviously. Beginning of the film, and he kills 3 more people, in which you see on screen. So he has a big body count in this movie. And of course, our main heroine is the foster sister of Jamie Lloyd, whose name is Rachel. And she pretty much is protecting Jamie from Michael throughout pretty much the bulk of the climax of the film. Dr. Loomis has a showdown with Michael. Loses the showdown, of course, but doesn't die. Just gets put out of commission for a little while. Rachel and Jamie get help from the hillbillies right before Michael kills them all, and then Rachel runs Michael over, and then the out-of-town federal reserve services with the remaining sheriff gun Michael down and blow up a mine shaft with him in it. But this has probably the craziest climax. This is almost like something that Rob Zombie tried to do with H2, but didn't do so really successful, considering the fact that his director's cut is all a dream sequence, and the theatrical cut, your question is Laurie Strode going to become the next Michael Myers? But in this one, it's not really answered until the fifth film, but there was always speculation that they could have actually have made Jamie Lloyd a female equivalent of Michael Myers. When they do the reenactment of Michael Myers killing his oldest sister with a kitchen knife. Only with Jamie Lloyd, she's wearing the exact same costume that he was wearing as a kid, and attempts to murder her foster mom with a sharp pair of scissors. And we see Dr. Loomis going ahead and seeing to hold her and wants to kill the kid right there and then shoot her. Gets stopped, of course. But of course, we see the climax about what really happened with the fifth film, and then we'll get into that when we get there. Don't want to spoil it too much and too quickly. Here's the premise. Audio and video quality. This film is very nostalgic and very much a in-your-face, dreaded, cold, atmospheric movie, which means that it really feels like a fall-time movie. So don't expect any cool temperatures in this movie. There isn't any. It's all warm and neutral temperatures, and neutral kind of bleeding into warm. So the main center is warm, with it being balanced out with neutral in a very fall-like, nostalgic look. I think that's the easiest way to describe the movie. It definitely looks very interesting. It does have color. It is in color, but the colors kind of bleed into each other with a more of a warm temp. So there's color, but it's kind of like what you would see in one of the modern DC comic book movies like Man of Steel or something. So it's color like that, but it's very fall-like. So that's another way to kind of take a look at how that works. Audio. This is another film that was recorded in ultra stereo during the theatrical release. Sorry, the cat's trying to bite my arm again. Basically, it definitely shows, but the 5.1 Dolby True HD sound source is not bad in this movie. It's just, again, feels a little bit flat. That's something that I tend to see in these movies that were recorded in ultra stereo. It's not so much in Friday the 13th 6. It's not so much in Friday the 13th Part 6, but it definitely did show in Friday the 13th Part 7, and it definitely does show in Halloween 4: The Return of Michael Myers. But it's not a bad track. You do have a lot of good surround effects in the movie and a lot of good directional stereo effects, and the mono is pretty good, but it just feels a little flat compared to, say, something that was recorded originally in Dolby Stereo Surround and then modified into a 5.1 HD surround source track during this Blu-ray production, like, say, on Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, The Dream Master. But overall, it's a pretty good, solid track. But don't expect it to be insanely intense like Nightmare 4 was. Well, that's pretty much all there is to say about Halloween 4: The Return of Michael Myers. Did you like the movie? Did you not like the movie? Did you like this video? Did you not like this video? Let me know below. As always, subscribe if you like. Check on me from time to time, and I will see you guys next time for my review of one of the following three. I have to figure out which one got released first. Friday the 13th Part 8, It Takes Manhattan, and Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, The Dream Child, or Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. But I'll see you where whichever review that is going to be. Until then.